So previously we've unboxed the Canon M6 MkII, but in this video I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts on the size differences, price differences, and things like that about the cameras I've had before. So previously, my latest camera really is the 550D. It was the last camera I bought, and I can't believe that it was actually 11 years since I bought a camera, because I used to upgrade them all the time. I think I started off with a 350D and then kind of went to like a 450 and then the 550. I kind of missed an iteration and jumped one, so I sort of upgraded every kind of 2 years to begin with. Then I got to the 550D, which was amazingly enough 11 years ago was still full HD video, 30 frames or whatever, or close to that, 24. But I never wanted to upgrade after that, mainly because I just felt that the functionality, nothing had really been added other than like flip screens and more megapixels on the sensor. So I kind of didn't bother upgrading, and I kind of left it a lot of years then. And I've got a lot of life out of this 550D. This 550D has been really good for things like astrophotography. It's been good for video. It's been good for just normal snaps and portraits and taking passport photos and all sorts of different things. So it's been really, really good. So why upgrade now? Well, the reason I wanted to upgrade now was I wanted 4K video. And 4K video only came in at the sort of M50 area, and I was looking at the M50 and I thought it looked pretty good, but because of the lack of dual focus in 4K and the crop, I didn't want to. I sort of hung out for the Mark II M50 and was a bit like other people, where I was a bit dismayed about the iterations on it. It hadn't added much to it. For Mark II, we expected a lot more from the M50 Mark II. As it was only doing 4K in sort of 24 frames, we expected 30 frames a second out of it as well, which we didn't get. So that put me off really buying the M50. So I thought I'd step up and actually buy the M6 Mark II, because there was no crop factor and because it would got full 30 frames at 4K, which, you expect to get at least 30 frames or 60 frames, because Samsung are pushing it on all the phones now. You can get your 4K, your 30 frames, your 60 frames, and why not get it in a camera now? You still can't seem to get you have to pay thousands of pounds to buy the top end Canon to kind of get your 4K 60 frames. So I settled on the M6 Mark II. I bought the £1,100 starting pack with the lens and the electronic viewfinder. Previously, 11 years ago, I'd actually paid about £650 for my 550D. So I've gone up a little bit, but I hope I get as much use out of it as I have for the 550 anyway. So just looking at some of the differences between the two, I mean, we're talking 11 years difference here. In the last video, I did talk about this, that the M6 instruction booklet has all these languages in it, but for your language, there's only actually 14 pages of any usefulness in it. And I wouldn't say that useful, because it's all about basically setting up your camera and taking a shot in auto. Whereas the old 550D manual, I mean, it was actually a novel. It was a complete book. There was so much in here. It was all English, one language, and told you about the accessories. It had an index. I mean, you could take this on holiday and just kind of read the whole thing. And I did use it for reference as well. So that's a bit of a shame they've kind of dropped that booklet, even though they've printed a similar sized one. It's just not a lot of use to sort of anybody like the old classic book was, really. Anyway, moving on to the cameras themselves. So here we've got the M6 Mark II. Very nice it is. Nice size. Let's bring in the 550 beast of a camera and just kind of look at the sizes, really. I think you can tell there straight away size differences. Obviously the lens is bigger as well, but so that's the 15-45 kit lens that came in the pack. And then on the older 550D, we've got the, and I can't remember what it is now, is it 15-35? Sorry, 18-55 on there as well. So you can see how much bigger those kind of cameras are, really. A lot bigger, obviously from the top end as well, if you look. So quite a big size difference between the two, and weight difference as well, a lot smaller. Whether I'll get the adapter or not to swap between the lenses, I have got quite a few lenses that I purchased. I may sell a couple and keep a couple just to actually fit on here, but we'll see how I get on with these lenses really. I think I will miss that the old 550D had the viewfinder built in. You kind of get used to that really in a way, but I have had things like Ixus compact cameras where you just look at the screen on the back and you just point and shoot really, which you could get used to I suppose on this, on the M6. Hopefully I will get used to it. If not, I'll slide the electronic viewfinder on, but we'll have to wait and see. It is a shame that why Canon can't seem to make the perfect camera for £1,000 at the moment. I think the M50 has a few things on it which are brilliant, which should have been put on this really. Why can't we have an articulated screen that flips out sideways and rotates just like the M50, and that actually you can turn over so it protects itself on the back, instead of having this that kind of comes out or that comes up and actually gets in the way of your hot shoe here if you've got a microphone on or something else. So the first thing you're going to end up doing is probably moving the hot shoe mount to the side with an adapter straight away if you want to use an external microphone. So that's a real shame why that hasn't been done. And it would have also been nice to see the kind of M50 build form factor where you've actually got the viewfinder built into the camera. I think that would have been nice as well. If they could have just done those two things, then I think we'd have the perfect camera nearly. Right, so this is me holding the camera, and I'm recording in 4K at 25 frames a second. So this is not in 30 frames a second. I just thought this would give you an idea of what the video looked like, and more importantly what the inbuilt microphone sounded like as well, without using an external one. I'm about, I don't know, 45-50 centimeters away from the camera. So one thing I have found is that you need a really fast SD card in order to get 30 frames a second in 4K via video. I've got an SDHC C10 or Class 10 card in at the moment, and that's only giving me 4K at 25 frames. So I have ordered another card. I've ordered a SanDisk SDXC A2U3 UHS1 card, and I'm hoping that's going to offer me 30 frames a second at 4K. So I'll tell you about that probably in the next video when that arrives and I've tested it out. The other thing that's sort of annoying me a little bit was I was trying to find the best way or the fastest way to transfer video from the camera to the PC. The M6 Mark II does have a USB-C port on the side, so you could add a cable there from the camera to your PC, or you could take the SD card out of the camera every time, which I used to do in my old 550D all the time. But this time it's not on the side, which was really nice, easy to just flick out and get the card out the side of the camera. But obviously now the card is underneath with the battery, so it's a bit more tricky to get out. So I tried that. I find that the fastest way, but I did try connecting the camera to my Wi-Fi and using the Canon EOS utility, but it was dreadfully slow. I mean, I am upstairs and the router's downstairs, but it was really slow, especially for photos. It's probably fine, but for big 4K videos, I don't recommend it. It's not fast at all. So I think the best way is to still take out the SD card to transfer your 4K video that way. But overall, so far, I'm quite happy with it. I've really obviously not had much of a use of it, of any stills, not really taken any photos with it or been out with it. But so far, so good. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.